Hello everybody, it's Leala.
And Beau.
And welcome back to my channel.
Leala.
Yes.
I have 50.7 fluid ounces of Topo Chico burp juice that I'm going to attempt to drink to keep my whistle wet this entire time. And I'm not going to burp on mic. But I'm going
Okay, everyone.
If I stop talking
Keep
for
track.
a moment. Burp.
Okay. So, welcome back. Welcome to my channel if it's the first time. Today we're going to discuss Queendom Season 2, Episode 7.
The dance episode.
Dance Off. And before we begin, if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. We do these recaps for the Queendom every Saturday.
Yep.
2,
And
if
some
you
other stuff.
like the episode, please let us know with a comment. We would love to hear from you, and we'd love to hear your rankings of the performances this week.
Yeah, for sure.
And 3, before we begin, we'll give our review of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, because we literally just got back from the theater from watching that movie.
It was very Sam Raimi-like in the last 30 minutes.
Okay, it was fun and weird.
About
okay,
it.
That's it.
Yeah, it was fun. Doctor Strange is fun. That's not my favorite Marvel type of movie, but it's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. So it's on my mind, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it.
So each episode I've discovered Queendom, Kingdom, other Korean reality shows, they're actually veiled attempts at teaching us life lessons.
Oh, yeah, always.
So this episode taught me a very important lesson.
It's very much after school special.
Yeah, and that is, if you are to judge something, if one is to judge something, one must view the something a few times or listen to it, go back and listen to it a few times. Because
first impression is not always.
I kind of feel bad for the live audience, because the live audience sees it literally once and has to place a vote, and they might get something stuck in their brain, and then they see the later act and then they're confused. Which one do I prefer? And it's got to be hard. So, this episode was no different.
So this episode contained all the performances of the dance subunits and all of the rankings for both vocal and dance. We will discuss those. And then we're going to discuss a little bit about the next part of this round, which is the fan song.
Yes. What was it called? Fantastic or something like that?
Fandora's Box.
Fandora's Box. They can't just do just a word. They have to throw in some epic thing. Sounding thing.
So ready? Shall we begin?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so the first performance this week was from the team Kevies, which was Vivi's and Kepler doing purr, make him purr. How does it go?
Yeah.
This song has been going through my head for 2 solid days. Like, I literally go to sleep with it in my head.
So have we still not found out?
I wake it up with it in my head.
Have we still not found out who the artists were and stuff? Because they sang it, but I guess they just bought a song.
Yeah.
If you don't know, in K-pop, they'll often buy songs from a song bank of, composers and stuff. They do that all sorts of music. And I guess somebody wrote this and then they sang the parts, which I thought it was the people on the stage singing the parts. You could really tell in Hyolan and stuff.
They didn't focus on that. They didn't talk about it. And
I wish they would have.
That. But if you look at the credits of the songs in Spotify, it's them. And you can sort of tell a little bit of parts. You can definitely tell Hikaru's rap.
You can tell Hikaru, you can tell Hyolan.
And just for song-wise, as I said, it's been in my head for 2 solid days.
Yeah.
I really like this song almost against my will so much. I love this song.
I wish they would have.
It's just like a banger.
I think it's like the show. Now, granted, they have a limited amount of time and stuff. But it's like they kind of take for granted the fact that there are people recording an entire song. And just arranging it and stuff. It's really cool.
About them. They didn't sing it.
No,
live.
but I thought it was
just
interesting that they.
But it's cool that they got to do the song.
I would have liked to see more about that, because the songs on this show, on this episode, the 3 songs are really good.
They are really good. They've all been in my head. They're very memorable songs this time.
And it's weird. It's like
we had just seen and heard little clips before, and I was like, why does everyone like Purr so much? And I'm like, oh, I see why they like Purr so much. It's a bit of a banger. But as far as this performance goes,
minus the inappropriateness for some
let's not talk
areas.
about those lyrics. Lyrics are sketchy, but that's par for the course with K-pop.
But I was only worried about Daeon and Hikaru being that they're under, and I was just like, okay.
It's sketchy.
Let them think it's about like a groomer or something.
They didn't even know what purr meant last time. They're like, what's purr? Is it like when a cat is angry? And they're like, no.
Which is funny because they thought it was when a cat was angry.
We thought it was like a growl.
It is still connected to a cat.
But anyway. The performance itself. So on my first watch of it, I was like,
yeah, I was like,
this is really underwhelming. Like, what's going on here? Something's missing.
A lot of Kepler performances have been.
And then we'll talk about the other ones because they went first, so the other two went afterwards. So they kind of had a little bit of a disadvantage in going first, but also, I feel like, if you watch the edited performance, like what they played during the episode.
It cuts to like reactions and stuff.
The editing and the camera work and everything's really dark and it's moving really fast. It's almost chaotic.
It's a bit, yeah.
It's a bit like messy looking.
With dance, you need to watch them.
But if you come back and you watch the full cam, where it's the still camera that's like what the audience sees and they're all on the stage, that looks better. But if you watch fan cams...
Individual fan cams,
yes. Particularly Hikaru...
Because Hikaru's...
My opinion of the whole thing changed a lot. Because at first I was like, this is not impressive, and I can't put my finger on why. But the more I've thought about it, I've watched it over and over and over because I like the song, and something about it was in my head. It was just the way it was staged... The lighting,
the flow of the
stuff that was in the background, like the background screen. There was smoke.
Oh, you mean the distracting stuff? Yeah,
there was a lot of
it was a lot of distraction. Yeah, and this is what I was saying. I've been saying about Kepler this whole series, and about a lot of the groups, is it's a bit. It's not really anybody's fault. I think everybody's trying hard. The lighting guys and the girls and the smoke people and all. I just think sometimes it doesn't carry on the first viewing. So you really do need to watch. If you're going to judge it and place a vote, which I think you should be an informed voter, just like in real life. And you should watch the individual fan cams, not just your favorites. Maybe watch something you're not
all of them.
You watch them and then watch the stage cams, and you go, oh, there's some really cool little parts there in all these performances. And it's a bit of a shame because it goes so fast. 3 minutes is nothing. And they're off the stage, and the voters, like I said again...
It's even less than 3 minutes. The full song that's on like Spotify has a whole extra verse, I think.
I love their voice. All their voices in the song fit well. Everybody works. I couldn't tell... Yeah. Oh, there goes... Uh-oh. I couldn't tell who was shouting, though, on the song, though. I couldn't... I think I picked up
We'll need to go back
voice.
and watch it yet again to figure out who
I would have loved to see more about them also, some of the recording parts, because for Hikaru, for Dion, a little bit for shouting, they're a little bit more used to singing and acting, putting on this persona on the stage. Sinbi and Umji have done all sorts of dance, but of course they were more pretty floral.
They've never done this style.
Yeah, and I wanted to see more about even the recording process, how they adjusted their voices.
Dance covers in this style, but Umji's never done this style, I don't think.
Yeah,
So she was having a bit of a hard time learning the choreography, but it was really cute. With the behind the scenes, Hikaru helped her a whole lot. Yeah,
and I love it when they go, she didn't even mind that I was talking to her like a normal human being. I'm like, well, because that's a societal thing, and when you're in private or you're hanging out with your buddies or somebody you're going through a battle like this, you drop that stuff. And Umji's a sweet
there's no reason to have pretense about like who's the elder and who's younger and experienced whenever.
But this is what I'm saying though.
Hikaru has a innate talent. But my other thing about this, and my thought about it, having watched it more and compared it to the other stages and everything, the actual choreography for this, like the actual moves, I really like
there's
it a
some
lot.
really cool
I think this is a really, really good choreography. There's a lot of details going on. I think it's like surprisingly difficult because it's pretty fast. There's a lot of details. There's a lot of groovy movements where you've got to have that flow in how you do it. And like Hikaru just hits every checkbox.
Hikaru is tiny, so
I think rocks this kind of like thing.
I think it helps that she really is physically short and tiny because she can really kind of hit fast, and she's just a little bit of
she's in her element with this. Like it is so. She's so good.
Minus the lyrics.
Minus inappropriate
Hikaru,
lyrics.
no more of that, Diane.
But the dance, like, man, she's good. And like, I just love the choreography. Yeah. I will say that it was made clearly by an amazing choreographer. They needed to also work with a stage director because one of the parts that also made this a little bit less impactful than other stages is they didn't move around. They came out like it was a music show. They stood in their places and they just danced in that front center stage with backup dancers, and that was it. They didn't move to the side. They didn't come.
Yeah, but the
front.
two choreographers from whatchamacallit, who did this one? I can't remember who did the
Holly Bang,
which is a really well known. They watched it and approved it. So I'm wondering if they were kind of in the mindset of being on their show, one of their shows where you come out and you hit it. They were more concerned about just the choreography, which was really good. I think that it needed to elevate itself, because this is a show not about choreography. This round isn't about choreography; it's about performance. Yes.
That's a different thing than choreography.
Yeah.
They needed to use the stage more. They needed to bring someone out and have them stand out from the rest of the group and do a center dance break solo type thing.
Have a narrative.
There needed to be some levels of interest. But instead, this was like a dance crew thing where everyone was always doing it together. But maybe because it was supposed to be. And in the center.
I'm wondering if it would have been better if it had simplified down to like they were literally in... Like the background was almost like a training, like a boxing gym or something, to where they were just there to kick ass and dance hard, and that's what they did. And you would have seen the moves better. Even just a single part where one person in the middle was doing the chorus, really good dance moves, while the people to the side were like doing something different. That's what they did in one of the later ones. Just to bring out some difference and stuff. I think that was the only weakness here, is that it wasn't just overall designed super well. But it was executed well. I like the song. I love the dance. Yeah. I wonder if that's because like Hyolan gets the difference because she calls the shots.
Yep.
As far as we can tell, she's not afraid to say this needs to go there. And some people this episode were saying it was a bit too much even. We'll talk about that in a bit. But she sees the bigger picture a little bit better. Kepler is a bit more inexperienced. And Eumji and Sinbi were maybe concentrating on the dance a bit. There's a lot you can put into the thought process of this, but I think there was a lot of distracting stuff. So this one was the most important one, I think, to really watch the other versions of it, because it seemed really almost bland the first time you watch it, like just kind of like they weren't really trying. It didn't sound like that, or didn't feel like that, but like it's because the camera would move, and you would see the next little
underwhelming in the first
viewing, and then you watch, you're like, no, they're really doing some interest, and really the song is good. It was the best song of the night for sure.
It's a banger. It's in my playlist,
minus the lyrics. but other than that, it was fantastic. I think Kepler might find themselves their narrative this whole time is they've kind of been a victim of stage lighting and stage issues that is not their fault. But man, they do really well. Yeah. And it was so cute when Diane kind of... And by the way, Diane's voice on the recording, she does a really good job on her part. She has a very distinctive voice. Yeah, you could hear her talking voice. Yeah. You can hear that. I can
tell it was Diane. That's why I was like, did they sing this?
When Chu sings, you can tell it's Chu. There's certain people when Cheon, when she sings, you can tell it's Cheon. She's really working and does really well. When you compare her to Hikaru, the difference is I think Hikaru just has a bit more of a, I don't know if it's a naive expertise, like she doesn't know she's so good, and so she just kind of goes, where Diane's more conscious of it, I guess. And so sometimes with Diane, you see her being more conscious of it, but Diane is so good. And if this is her singing and dancing and recording that well, this is really her element as well. During the whole process, they're talking backstage. I wish you knew a bit more when that timing was, when they interview him and stuff. It's right after the performance or right before? I don't know. It's right after, I think. And Diane kind of tears up a little bit. She's like, and then they talk to Shouting, and Shouting starts just crying. And it's like, man,
they were talking.
She's exhausted, like, poor girl.
She was, they were talking about it, and Diane just being like, yeah, we're very new to this and everything, and you're
meeting two sweet new, friends in the industry. It was very sweet.
And Shouting too, just language barrier should never be
it's
underestimated.
Possible to. I know this sounds silly.
I have a harder time expressing what she means to say.
I have yes, but I like to build narratives in my head. I do it whether I want to or not. And I think you're also older. I think she's second or third oldest or something like that in Kepler. So she doesn't have as many unis. And she meets somebody who's not only uni age-wise, but is also a very experienced idol who's has made their mark on the industry. And she's hanging out with them, and she's just like, it was a really sweet moment. That's why I like when they get in these little groups, is they have these little...
It was cute.
It was very sweet. But I thought... This one, if you haven't gone back and watched it, and you're thinking like us at first, you're like, I was okay with it. And they did obviously some cool parts. Go back and watch the individual and stage cams and everything, and you'll be like, oh, yeah, there's some really cool stuff in there. Yeah. And best song, too.
So after that was Exit with the song...
EX-IT, by the way.
I didn't put the dash.
Oh, my gosh.
With the song Kaboom, with Hyolan and Jorm van Unso from WJSN. This was one that was like the complete opposite. It was like the opposite end of the spectrum from Purr. It was also kind of a power hip-hop song.
Yeah.
But, my feeling in watching it for the first time was like, oh, that was really impressive. And then I watched it again in the full cams and the fan cams and was like, actually, that choreography, just choreography, not everything else, isn't my favorite. It was probably the weakest in my opinion. It
had a bunch of stage stuff going on that was a bit too much here and there.
But
I was distracted by it.
They used the stage really well.
Of course,
they used props well. They had backup dancers doing wild stuff, contortionists and stuff. It was almost like on the edge of a little bit too much for me. It was distracting. There was just a lot going on. They were dressed the same as their backup dancers, so it was very busy on stage when they were there. I thought,
and the vests were puffy-ish, so it almost. I almost there's those jokey YouTube videos you guys might see out there. Oh, you're gonna burp now too, where they take away all the music and it's just him going squeaking on the floor as they practice. You know, don't spill that. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I kept picturing with this. I kept thinking somebody's gonna make a video where they take away the music and it's just those jackets going. Like they kind of interrupted the flow of their bodies a bit because they're all really good dancers, you can tell. Hyolan is Hyolan. Like you take for granted that she can do everything. She's like, oh, Hyolan, of course you're god level, But with WJSN, I also noticed that not only were they able to keep up the dance stuff, but their rap and their voice was really nice.
Yeah, it was another case where they haven't done this style before, maybe ever. I'm not entirely certain, but I don't think so. And so it was something that was very new for them. It was really cute when they were practicing in the La Chica.
Yeah, you can't look cutie. You want to look a little tough.
Choreographers were there, and they were like, you do this part when you're like talking to each other and like walking away, and they like start like playing around and giggling and holding hands and skipping off
because they're like tough.
And this is this is what we're used to doing all the time. And she's like, you gotta stop being pretty for a minute. Stop trying to be pretty and focus on the.
But I thought that was
being cool. So it was like
the editors are aware. The editors are aware of the professional qualities of people, the skills and all that, because I think they left that in for a reason. It wasn't only funny but it illustrated perfectly a small difference between a group like WJSN, who has definitely done some more mature sounding stuff, but not like hard hip hop stuff, and especially dance. And the way she said, no, when you walk off, look at her in the eye, and I think it was Jorm was like, I'm going to step on her feet or whatever. And she's like, no, and she got her the La Chica girl got her partner up and said, no, watch. And in 2 seconds showed how you can back off and you're trusting each other, you're a dance partner. Little stuff like that I really like watching. Like, it doesn't seem like anything, but that was a part that was gumming them up a bit. Hyolan is always fine. In this episode and last one, she seems to be not tired, but getting a bit more serious and a bit more... Because she's working her tail off. I think it was a lot
for her to do both of these in this round and prepare for the next song.
An 18-hour day or something. She probably got no sleep.
She didn't complain at all, of course, but you could tell it was a lot.
But I thought it was great. Dance-wise, it wasn't my favorite by far, and song-wise, it wasn't my favorite by far.
It's not my favorite
This
song.
is my least favorite.
It was okay. It was good. I thought, I appreciated that they used the stage well. I think it was a better performance than Purr, but not necessarily a better dance or choreography than Purr.
I think they were a little bit worried about having three. They were worried about not... And I think, no, you guys were able to hit these dances. You're already spread out. Just... just be confident in that.
The key points of the song weren't as the key points of Purr are super memorable. It just gets in your head and the part of the dance just flows with it really well.
Yeah.
This wasn't really as impactful in the key parts in my opinion.
It was good, but it felt to me, I thought, when I saw it, I thought it's Hyolan, people are going to vote for, of course. But I think it was the third best.
If you would have been there and seen it, it was exciting.
This is my third best.
Yeah.
Well, and I think people live, you get swept up in the theatrics of it.
Yeah.
But if you're going back again, if you're judging in our particular instance, if you're at home and you're judging or whatever, you need to go back and watch it. They're doing a fantastic job. Again, I was more impressed with the recording. I thought
the recording was also really good.
But
Hyolan sounds amazing.
Yeah, Hyolan always sounds amazing.
I don't know if Yoram ever raps
she was
normally,
like,
but she sounded like so cool.
Yeah, she sounded awesome.
She had like this cool rap tone. I was like, does she ever do that normally? Because I don't think that she does.
I mean, that rap tone too is so overdone a lot in K-pop, but if you do it in your own way, it really does. She did fantastic. I'm like, go ahead, Yoram. Cool. But again, this is my third favorite, easiest, my last on the list, song wise and dance wise. But it was good. I could see why people liked it, but it was a bit distracting here and there. Because there was one point she's dancing in the contortionist's arms and it kind of gets caught up. And it kind of, when you're watching that, you're kind of going, oh, something's going to slip, or, it's a bit, you get worried about that stuff and you're not swept up necessarily in it. And the last one we'll talk about is an example of people getting swept up in it. Like the crowd just like silent. But with this one, you're kind of on your edge a bit. There's so much going on.
It was fun though. Like I appreciated the colors and their costumes and stuff.
Fun.
I thought it was cool. Hyolan in neon green / yellow is like, she found her color. That's her color.
Yeah.
That yellow eyeshadow looked amazing. Oh my god, it looks so beautiful. Like neon. Someone who looks really good in neon green. Like I love neon green.
I guess my issue with Hyolan, as much as I love her as an artist, and I think she deserves more.
People are gonna call you out in the comments again for picking on her. Stop picking.
I'm picking on her because I'm not picking on her. I think she's fantastic. She's not my usual vibe for K-pop, but my issue is if you compare every performance, is the whole theme for everybody else is basically in the show. Don't just do your normal stuff, and except for the first song you do it, but even your first song they did it. You're supposed to do it kind of fresh and new, and you're kind of challenging yourself along the way and trying different sides. That's the running theme. I'm not saying she's not challenged. She is, of course, but she's not quite done anything that is really different than Hyolan to me. It's always kind of Hyolan stuff. Yeah, and I want, it may be too late, but I wanted to see something of her doing. Like, I think she would have been amazing in the last song.
In the last part of the discussion.
Anyway, great song. Least favorite, though.
The last team was the I'm the Queen team that did a song. I thought it was called Desire, but then
it's called Hear Me, Let Me Go. It's 3 words. Hear Me out. What is it called now?
With Luna and Brave Girls Unji.
It's going to drive me crazy.
This was the one that the teams were wanting to avoid because it looked more like modern dance. So it was really I was excited for it because I knew that doing something that's a little bit outside of the box for this is I could have told you, and I might have said it in the, whenever we first talked about this song, that whoever does this song is going to win, because when you're doing something a little outside of the box, a little different, that's always really nice and to see and refreshing.
Yeah, but you had to be able to pull it off. You can't just think as a dancer, it's slow, I'll be fine. It's very hard. And this is where, like I was saying, Hyolan in this one, if you could imagine her in this one, it says...
That would have been amazing to see.
It's still in her wheelhouse. It's sexy.
Not necessarily. It would have been something new for her to do this.
She could have shown her kind of more classical. And that's what I'm saying, is I wanted to see her challenge herself a bit, instead of just try to do what she normally does really well. I wanted to see her... Maybe in the last song she'll do that in her fantastic song, or what do you call it? But Unji's my favorite. I just love her so much.
She really got to stand out and show off, and she looked amazing. She danced amazing. This is her vibe. I loved their outfits. I loved the camera work where it was started off in black and white with only the red keyed in. Oh man, that was so cool.
It was so simple. It was not.
The staging was beautiful. They focus on one person at certain points, and then they go to everyone, and then they have some backup dancers, but they're not a bunch of them. They're not distracting or anything. They come to the whole group, and then the whole group does, pulls to the side, and then they have the one person do the center. When they were practicing, everyone was doing that really difficult floor work choreography. But when it actually came to the thing, it was really just a one person doing it as a dance break.
Yeah.
So I think it was an exercise to see who would do it, and Eve did it. So it was like so it was like super impactful to have her just like the center of attention.
Yeah.
Doing this really cool.
They all had a little break. Yeah.
And like they each had their kind of like moment where they were, highlighted in a certain way, getting to do interesting stuff. Unji doing the splits and like kicking her leg up in the air.
But the way she arranged it,
was like
the way
it was so beautifully done.
Well, the way she arranged it or choreographed it, forgetting her name, Monica did, is that it is it's real easy to kind of turn kind of like sexy into like a bit sexualized or something, but they were almost doing a combination or something in between, like a ballet stuff here and there combined with this kind of
like modern dance.
But it was really, really interesting. It was, I mean, they're all really cool looking and stuff like that, but it didn't feel like they were I don't know, it's hard to explain. Do you know what I mean? Like it was closer to the classical end.
It was classic.
And you're watching, you're thinking, oh, this is like, it's supposed to be a sexy, but you're like, but it doesn't feel that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but I'm just saying the little touches, like with the splits that she did where they held her arms, that was reminiscent to me of a leap a ballet dancer does, or doing that on the bars, like Hikaru did just back in the background. The first song was so cool. There was these little moments like that. So I do wonder how it was. I wonder how it was picked up by the crowd though. Like, but they did say several people said in different groups, and this is when I thought, oh, this is true. Different people were saying it, is that the crowd was silent.
Yeah, the crowd was silent.
They said it when they got off the stage. A couple of the other groups said it too, and it's because they were just like, what?
During the performance, the crowd was silent, but the minute it ended, you could hear people screaming.
Oh, they were, yeah.
I mean, I don't know which name they were screaming, but somebody was there. I was a fan.
And they all got their little moments.
Like during the thing, it was kind of like, wow, what is this? Whoa.
This was the one I watched. When I watched it, it kind of reminded me of Luna's the 50-ish ones the one dance they did, and just a few of the other moments like that, to where you're Hyolin's first song when she came out, when you're like, this is really taking the song, the show, and really doing what the show is asking. Not just the normal thing turned up, but something a bit different, something that makes you memorize it. And that's why everybody's talking about this one. That's why, spoiler, I guess if you're watching this, this is why it got number one.
You're right. Yeah.
But again, I'm not picking on Hyolyn or anybody else, but this is the kind of song that you wanted to see some of your favorite idols do to challenge themselves a bit. Unji didn't necessarily, this is kind of in her wheelhouse, like this is what she does. But what was cool about that is she a lot of people
Nobody
don't know
knows
her.
that.
We knew she was a great dancer, but I thought it was more like street.
Not in her style.
Yeah, but this is like,
this is her.
She's so pretty.
And
in
Luna
her eyes.
too. Like, I was slightly surprised to hear them say that this was like not something that they were necessarily like super confident in doing.
But what did they
I
mean?
would have
like,
thought, of course he could do this.
Did they mean more like the sexy cat thing or something, or what?
Well, just in the more modern dance, they're used to doing powerful dances and stuff,
which is cool. This is good, but
I could have told them like, of course you could.
But the reaction, and I'll bet you a lot of the artists. I think they did this in first Queendom and maybe Kingdom. A lot of the artists took some of their stuff they did during the series and did it in their live shows later. So I wouldn't be surprised if Luna or even Unji came out with some on a Brave Girls tour and did a moment of this or did something, because they realized people really responded to it well. They were like, oh, that was really kind of neat. Cool. But it helped that, again, the stage direction, there wasn't a bunch of fog and stuff. There wasn't big confetti everywhere. It was them doing a thing, which doesn't always work. Sometimes you want them to do a bigger thing spread out.
It was slightly understated, but in a really good
it
way.
Was artistic. It was
artistic, it was great.
Hoity-toity, as they could. But this is easily my favorite, but my least favorite song though. By the way.
Yeah.
That was my last song.
These were the rankings for both the vocal and dance. Vocal was our fave one, WJSN, and VV's with the IU song.
It didn't surprise me,
Which one of the most legendary performances in the history of this series.
It just made you feel so good. It made you feel nice.
And then Hyolyn and Brave Girls for the 33's team in the vocal, and then the last place on vocals was Luna and Kepler. This isn't surprising. Really, this is what we were expecting. This was our.
But I think that arrangement, the Luna and Kepler, the Let It Go or whatever it was called. What was it called? Don't Go. I think somebody was saying that's the biggest one on Spotify and YouTube. Like it's people are listening to a lot. It's a more.
And the dance, Luna and Brave Girls won first, of course, and then Hyolan and WJSN second, and last was Vivi's Kepler again. Kind of expected. My personal preference was for Vivi's Kepler above.
I would have done Luna, Brave Girls, Vivi's Kepler, and the Hyolan.
Yeah, I would have just flopped those two personally.
But song wise, I would have put Vivi's Kepler, Hyolan. Luna. No, Hyolan, and then Luna, because that Luna's song with the Brave Girls was not my favorite.
And as you see here on the, this is vocal up here at the top, as you can see on the screen. This is the number of votes in the audience. This is the number of points you get for winning.
So they really didn't
look at the very slight differences in numbers. Like 15
that's vocal,
people,
so
literally 15 people's votes difference between second and third place.
That's
30 people's difference between first and second place. Like that audience was small, and the entire rankings and points for this leans on that live audience. So it was like,
which I'm glad for. I think there should be a live audience.
A slight matter of preference. It is just a tiny vote
that
difference.
was even people who talked to their friend. Their friend was like, no, vote for that one.
This here, like 20 votes difference, and then 20 votes difference there on the. So it was like the numbers and the rankings here is like
nobody's blowing anybody away
preference.
Like during these rounds, which is what you want. That's why you want them to mix it up a bit, because someone like a Hyolan can fall to second, which I think is good for everybody. It's like, she might not be happy about it, but I think it's good for everybody to have a little bit of a shake-up. But next, though, are you going to talk about the next episode and stuff? What's happening? Okay.
Yeah, so these are the rankings. They're kind of like bonus points at this point, really.
Yeah, people were explaining it to me again, and I think I got it, but
it's kind of like a bonus point.
Yeah.
The next is the Fandora's Box. These are the songs. I believe these are the songs that they're performing.
Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah.
Which is interesting. I'm really excited and looking forward to this round. Kepler, since they don't have any songs,
I think Brave Girls is something different. I don't think it's Thank You. I thought it was something else.
So I could be wrong.
Yeah, but anyway.
Kepler, most notably for the next round, Kepler's doing Girls' Generation Boys. Girls, bring the boys
Yeah, but here's
out.
the thing. This is up to fans' votes for any song in the whole world.
Yeah.
So why did that one? Because I think they've done it. They did a cover of it on one of the reality shows recently. They did a dance. Yeah, the one where it's all the white room with the two male hosts.
Weekly Idol?
Yeah, they did it, I think, on there, and it was really cool. In fact, they did a dance cover.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they sung it. I think they just did a dance cover.
It's because, Tayan's the host, so it's kind of like, you want someone to do
I
a Girls' Generation
didn't even think
song?
about that.
Like, no one's done a Girls' Generation song yet. Come on.
And it fits their style. It's I think
they have potential to slay.
I think so,
I think that there's some potential to slay.
If you can actually see what's going on the stage, then I think it'll be fine.
Vivi's doing Bop Bop is like...
They
haven't done Bop Bop yet on the show. But it's also a little bit for me.
They're probably so sick of that song. I mean, honest to God. They're probably like, can we please...
Luna doing Butterfly. I begged since they were announced to be on Queendom to please do Butterfly. Please do Butterfly.
Do you ever notice...
And here's my prediction. No. I've seen nothing. They're going to win. Well, they're going to win. Luna doing Butterfly is just a perfect song.
Did you ever notice when I see Luna get introduced on stuff, when I see him you see him get introduced on this and other shows, nobody ever brings up Butterfly, and I don't know what it is, but it's obviously always the fan favorite song. It's the one that fired them off as a group. That's the one they went really viral for. And I think it's because their new direction was more hard.
Away from
it's like no that.
I'm looking forward to Butterfly, and their outfits look amazing.
I don't remember what they look like, but yeah.
I'm not familiar with the song Pantomime WJSN, so I don't know. Their outfits look amazing.
I mean, it's WJSN.
Their outfits look amazing.
I think
Brave Girls. I don't know if it's not Thank You. If it's another song, I just don't know.
Thank You is fine, but I think Thank You is a bit touchy feely. So I thought they did an older one.
I don't know.
We'll have somebody correct us in the comments.
And Hyolan, Cece again. It's not one I'm familiar with. My personal and in seeing the clips of it. It looks to be very in line with everything else she's done on the show so far, so I'm a little bit like,
I'm just saying some people might be getting bored of that. Or they're not as impressed.
I would have liked to have seen her do Dolly. And then do something not air quotes powerful, but do something a bit cool and like, I don't know, different.
Jazzy or something? I don't know.
I would like to have seen her do something else. But we'll see what it turns out. Knowing nothing about anything, I'm going to say Luna's going to sweep this with Butterfly.
I think with Butterfly.
And Kepler has some potential to slay on the Girls' Generation.
I wouldn't be surprised with WJCN. They're very, very popular, and they seem to get crowd response a lot.
That's true.
So I think that they might do some big stage thing. But
it looks,
I know.
But with the previews, oh, God. I'm going to try not to get upset preemptively.
Oh, what were they showing? Oh, Hyolan walking out. Did you see the tweet? Somebody said Hyolan walks out, just walks out of a room. Mnet's like, quick, drama, edit that.
No, it's that Brave Girls might actually get ranked 6th and be eliminated. If they get ranked 6th, they'll be eliminated. They show a bunch of clips of them crying, and they say, "Oh, that can happen." There's a bunch of editing that makes
that
it
can
seem...
happen doesn't make it seem like, because that can happen doesn't mean they would have said, "Oh, it happened" or whatever. So I think
they made it seem like they're going to be eliminated.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past Mnet. That's the rule they made. They're not faking it.
That's dumb.
But I think that nobody asked for that. Nobody wants it.
They looked really upset.
You walked into a party and started breaking stuff. Nobody asked you to do that. Just let us have a good time.
I'm going to try to reserve my judgment because they've done a lot of that fake editing before. It may be that they got close to being eliminated but didn't. But if they get eliminated, I'm going to be so upset, you guys.
Everybody's going to be upset.
Because there's no point
reason
in that clownery at this point. For them to have done the whole show, the whole series... The only thing you don't get to do when you're eliminated is the final live episode.
Right, so they're just, it's like you had to call in, it's like you had to call in sick.
They already are going to be doing the song. They've already picked it out. They're probably already working on it. There's no reason to deny them the opportunity to perform it just because of rankings.
This isn't a real competition.
No reason to deny them that opportunity.
This is literally not,
get yourselves together. Get yourselves together, whatever you want to do.
Right.
If you want to have it be like, they're eliminated. And then in this final episode, it's like, surprise, just kidding, we brought them back. Brave Girls.
Or whatever.
Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do it.
Because there is no precedent set because they never got to that point in the first Queendom.
Do not actually eliminate them from the show.
Look, in GP999 and shows like that, people are like, this is brutal. It's like, yeah, but they do have to cut it down.
But they don't have to here.
They don't have to here. There's no reason to do this. This is not a competition. Nobody's contracts are on the line. Nobody's lives are on the line. No. They're not fighting each other in the octagon. There's not a tattoo judgment thing or something where there's an actual contract you can get or something. This is just, you're not invited to the party if you get kicked out. And it's one of the cruelest things. It's like, they're not going to go home and be like, oh, they're going to go home and cry and they'll put out an album and keep being Brave Girls. It's not going to destroy their lives, but that's the point. It's like there's no real
not to get pre-mad.
There's just no point to do it.
But
anyway, my votes are. Always put at least a vote to Brave Girls because I want them to stick around. That's not me being completely honest. But I still like them. I want to stick around.
About that is but the rank 6 stick around. I don't even know if our votes help there.
That's what somebody was saying. They might not even help.
I think our votes only help to the final ranking. So it's only that live audience. Live audience. It already happened in the past, so I can't scold you preemptively about you better freaking vote for Brave Girls. But live audience, I'm going to be very disappointed in you.
But the thing is if the audience has that knowledge that if Brave Girls comes in last, they're going home, there might be some of that reversal where they get up there in second and third or something like it happens on every reality show. What'd you call it? The panic voting or whatever.
I don't know.
But at the same time, the people they pull in for that live audience are most likely fans. They apply and they get an equal number of quote unquote fans for each group. Maybe
I don't know if they are.
I don't know, but it's like it's one of those things that drives me crazy because it is absolutely pointless. The edits, I understand. The edits get people to watch the show each week. That's all. It's a tool, and I understand that. Mnet is huge because they do stuff that people want to watch. You know, but sending somebody home, you're literally having a party, and you're going, you lost, so you're not invited to this fun party. Nobody wants. Kepler, everybody wants to see those people.
I know.
You know.
Let's reserve any further judgment until next.
Well, it won't happen
weeks.
for
for till 2 weeks from now.
The next 2 weeks will be fandomonium or fandoras, whatever the word is, and that'll be that. So 3-3, which would be fun. I'm hoping we see some silly, fun stuff again. And then the last one will be and then at the end of the second Fandora's box, that's probably when they'll show the voting.
The rankings and stuff, and then the final episode is a live. So
there's the live one of the live voting, the final
live.
Okay.
It's a live episode. Final.
Number one person, they win what? Like a whole show dedicated to him?
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. So that's what I was confused. Just don't send Hombre Girls, or I'm gonna hate you to death.
Okay.
I think it's so not you, mnet, and not you listening, except you, Greg. I don't like you. Just saying, Greg. You know who I'm talking about. He knows. Get out of here, Greg.
Okay, that's it for us today. We will see you again next Saturday. And
with a Reddit discussion. We didn't have a Reddit discussion.
Yeah, we didn't have one today. We're too busy.
Yeah, we were real busy. So
I will talk to you later. Bye everybody. Bye.
Have a good day.